I was reborn, and I slowly drifted away from Zachary. He understood without needing to be told, so we never made plans. I knew he had come back to life as well. Relying on the memories of our previous life, he quickly became the new darling of finance, winning a beauty's hand and basking in the spotlight. I chose to stay in Riverdale, to stay by my parents' side. The next time we met was 8 years later, at a class reunion. He had his arm around his college campus queen, a cigarette between his lips. Taking in my less than glamorous outfit, he sneered, 8 years and this is how you show up to see your old classmates? I didn't react. Then my husband laced his fingers through mine, smiled, and greeted them. Sorry I'm late. I'm Olivia's husband, Julian. Zachary's cigarette dropped to the floor. He stared at me, face drained of color. At last he understood. When I'd said we were done, I meant it. It wasn't a tantrum, wasn't a bluff. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. After graduation, the next time I saw Zachary was at that same 8-year reunion. I pushed open the door to the private dining suite and immediately spotted him in a corner, surrounded by classmates. One of them grinned and said, "Bro, you've made it, actually dating the campus queen. You've put our school on the map, making waves in the big city. How can a small town folks compete with Cole? You remember Olivia? Still in touch? You two were always together in high school, what happened?" He answered lazily, "Just study buddies who kept each other in check. If there was anything, it was years ago." I pretended not to hear. Calmly, I kept walking. Though we hadn't met in ages, I recognized him at once. I found a seat near the edge, poured myself a glass of juice, stared at the glass, and ignored him completely. The moment I appeared, every head turned. The class president sensed the tension and jumped up. "Olivia, you. Here, remember me? Connor. Zachary's here too." I lifted my gaze and met Zachary's eyes. Right then he had Sophia tucked against him, a flicker of amusement in his look as he sized me up, pride and disdain flashing through. My outfit looked plain at first glance, but it was hand-tailored, no busy patterns, no loud colors, just soft, comfortable fabric. It was only a class reunion, no need to go overboard. I'd simply put on light makeup. Next to Sophia, though, I did seem underdressed. She wore a haute couture gown, crocodile leather clutch in hand, makeup flawless, fully armored. I greeted them graciously. "Long time no see." Zachary gave a cool nod. Sophia smiled and tipped her head as well. Not wanting to impose, I turned to chat with other classmates. Once everyone had arrived, they all vied to pour Zachary drinks and sing his praises. My phone rang, the room was too loud, so I stepped out into the corridor. After finishing the call at the far end, I turned back, and ran straight into Zachary, reeking of alcohol, cheeks flushed. He looked down at me. "Olivia, this is what you've made of yourself in 8 years?" I stayed unmoved. Seeing him like that pulled me back to our past life. In that life, during a rare moment of leisure, we were walking along the river when a fierce argument erupted. Back in high school he'd dreamed of the metropolis, so I went with him to chase that dream for 10 years. We built careers, saved good money, but the city's pace suffocated me. I wanted to go home. I'm an only child. I'd brought my parents to the big city, but they never adjusted, no friends, no relatives, so they returned. I couldn't leave them. They were getting old, and I wanted to be nearby. Zachary promised we'd go back once we hit 10 million. Yet the city seduced him. When the goal was met he stalled, again and again. That night he flat out said we weren't returning. I finally lost it. "You promised we'd go back. If you won't, I'm going by myself." "Why push me, he shouted. "This city's better than hometown. Think bigger, our kids deserve top schools. Riverdale can't match that." Only days earlier he'd sworn that if I got pregnant we'd return. He changed his mind. Once a baby arrived, leaving would be almost impossible. I never thought Riverdale was bad. It might not glitter like Eastport, but it's still a first-tier city. It isn't worthless like he claimed. "You're from Riverdale too," I reminded him. "Don't forget your roots. The gap between Riverdale and Eastport has been closing." "It's closing, sure, but it'll take decades to catch up." "In your heart, is Riverdale forever second to Eastport?" I asked coldly. "Yes. Life here is good, why chase something lesser?" "I don't get you." Then he added, "If I'd known you were this small town, I'd never have brought you to Eastport. Should have teamed up with a freshman girl who shared my vision." Sophia's first year was my sophomore year. She stood out, her family well off, and she'd confessed to him. Because he and I were solid then, he'd turned her down. Every time we fought, he dragged this up. At first I thought he was trying to tell me how much he loved me, how he'd turned down a girl who had everything. Later, when he kept repeating it, I realized he was genuinely haunted by what might have been. So, when our final argument sent us both into the river and we woke up, impossibly, on the day we were filling out our college applications, he never asked me to go to Eastport with him. And I chose to stay in Riverdale. 02 I'd assumed Zachary and I were finished for good. In our first life he'd never shown up at a class reunion. Tonight he walked in like he'd been waiting for me. When I said nothing, his eyes narrowed. Look at what you're wearing. Staying in Riverdale, what future is that? Look around. How many of our classmates who stayed are actually thriving? But it's too late for regrets. Sophia and I are getting married. He pulled out a ring box and dropped to one knee. Sophia, in front of everyone we went to high school with, will you marry me? Yes. Sophia gave a coy laugh and fell into his arms. His gaze flicked to me. I lifted a shoulder. Congratulations, I said, tone casual. He stared, openly shocked and irritated by my lack of reaction. My indifference must have stung. He was the one who'd picked Eastport, the one who'd always wanted her. So why clutch at me now? Hoping I'd break down? I wouldn't. I slid back onto my bar stool as my phone buzzed. Landed? Yeah, 10 minutes out. If you're tired, skip it. I'll head home soon. No chance I'm letting my wife fly solo. Where you go, I go. I laughed, told him to drive safe, and hung up. A shadow fell over the table. Olivia. Sophia stood there, a crystal flute in hand. I've heard a lot about you. She raised the glass. A toast to you for not following Zachary to Eastport. If you had, I'd never have had my shot. She smiled. He says your study sessions were the only reason he got into his top school. No thanks necessary. We helped each other. Still, everything he is now, he owes to you. Her smile was brittle, she was flaunting the prize she'd snatched. I lifted my own empty glass. I don't drink. It's only red wine, just a sip. She tipped the bottle anyway. I watched, unmoving. I never took the flute, leaving her frozen mid-pour. Zachary stepped up. We're all friends here. One drink won't kill you. He pushed the glass toward me. I accepted it with a cold smile. They thought I'd surrendered, until I flung the wine straight at them. Sophia shrieked. Zachary swore, crimson dripping from his shirt front. She snatched napkins, dabbing at him and herself. This is my favorite dress, if it stains. Nearby classmates gawked, half offering napkins, half edging away, everyone aware of the price tags involved. Sophia looked up, eyes sharp. It's just a drink, Olivia. Did you have to ruin silk and crocodile? Can you even afford to replace them? Zachary's brows snapped together. That was way over the line. You brought it on yourselves. I said no, twice. He gave a sour laugh. Let me guess, you're bitter I'm marrying her and you lost it. Whispers rose around us. She didn't blink when he announced the engagement. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. Or maybe she's hiding it. Zachary's the new golden boy in finance, who wouldn't regret letting him go? Back in high school those two were inseparable. Once he left for Eastport they drifted. Now he's on top, maybe she's jealous? I exhaled. Speak louder, I'm not deaf. One last time, Zachary was my study buddy, nothing more. I chose Riverdale, and I don't regret it. Sophia's smile was pitying. He told me everything. Stop pretending. I know you still care. I'm genuinely grateful you tutored him, but we're the present now. I hope you can move on. I blinked. Excuse me? I cocked my head. Where, exactly, did you see me pining? I haven't gone near him all night. Are you hallucinating? Drop the act, Sophia said. With his career skyrocketing, you can't tell me you're not sorry. I stared. Do you hear yourself? You think your fiancé is some priceless trophy? I'm happy with my life. End of story. Zachary's laugh was low, disbelieving. I was done, their logic was from another planet. If I'd known the reunion would feature a pair of lunatics, I'd have stayed home. When I said nothing, Sophia lifted her chin. You ruined our outfits. Pay up, or drink the rest of this bottle and we'll call it even. She looked absolutely certain I couldn't produce it. Send me the amount and your bank details. I'll Venmo you right now. Zachary looked me up and down. You pay? Can you even afford to? The dress plus the clutch, 75 grand. What are you going to pay with? I drew a slow breath. You might as well just apologize to us. 03 huh. I laughed in sheer anger. I picked up the other glass on the table and poured it over Zachary's head. Drip, drip, the air froze. Olivia, have you lost your mind? I laughed out loud. I already said I'd pay. Why are you two making such a fuss? Can you afford it? Zachary snarled. Bank details. Now. I enunciated every word. Don't come crying later. Zachary's face was black with rage. Zay, she's not grateful. Waste of breath. Sophia suddenly cut in. Zachary didn't hesitate anymore and rattled off the account. I typed in the numbers and transferred the money. It's there. When Zachary saw the text alert, he stared in disbelief. Where did you get that kind of cash? The next second the door burst open, everyone turned. Julian walked in. He came straight to me, slid an arm around my shoulders, and said, "Sorry I'm late. I'm Olivia's husband, Julian." Surveying the scene, he asked mildly, "What's going on?" Tiny misunderstanding. Class President Connor tried to smooth things over, then added to Sophia and Zachary, "Rare old classmates reunion, let's keep it friendly and not let things get stiff." Zachary's complexion was ugly as he looked from me to Julian. "You're married?" Julian smiled. "Yes, we got our license this year." Everyone had heard of Julian, he was Riverdale's new golden boy. No wonder Olivia could transfer the money with a tap. Thanks to Julian's entrance, classmates crowded us with toasts. Julian said, "My wife can't drink." Someone asked, "Pregnant?" "Yes, 3 months along." Julian's smile was warm. Got it, got it." In moments everyone had shifted their chairs closer to us. Zachary and Sophia were left out in the cold. Sophia's face was pale. She gazed at Zachary, pleading for comfort. But Zachary's eyes weren't on her at all. They were locked on me, burning. The stare was impossible to ignore. I lifted my gaze. His eyes were red. Furious. What was there to be angry about? We'd each chosen the life we wanted, what dissatisfaction could he possibly have? I leaned into Julian and whispered. Julian glanced at Zachary and chuckled lightly. "Cole, do why? Oh, you have some grievance with my wife and me? You've been staring." Zachary pulled his gaze away, lifted a glass from the table, drained it in one gulp, and said nothing. Julian let it go and quietly plated food for me. Everyone looked at us with envy. They called Julian and me a match made in heaven. The reunion rolled on. The earlier incident might never have happened. In fact, Julian's arrival had lifted the whole mood. After all, he was Riverdale's rising star, so attention zeroed in on us, while the circle around Zachary and Sophia thinned until it vanished. The two of them sat in silence, then slipped out of the private dining suite without anyone noticing. A classmate realized and muttered, "They didn't even say goodbye. After a few years in Eastport they think they're above us." TCH. Exactly. Sure, he's doing okay over there, but no need for the attitude. Sterling shows up and they scurry off. Zachary had always flaunted his Eastport success and looked down on Riverdale. Julian outshone him, and suddenly he cowered. After the party, a chauffeured car picked us up. Julian had drunk a little and was tipsy. He sounded jealous. I'd heard the name Zachary before. He's nothing special. How did you ever fall for him? Nothing like that. We were only study buddies. And now I have a terrific husband, why would I even look at him? He snorted with laughter and pulled me into his arms. Honestly, I should thank him. If he hadn't let you go, I'd never have met someone as amazing as you. Exactly, we'd each made our choice. He sprinted for the big city, I stayed home. I'd never regretted it. If he hadn't barged back in, I probably would never have thought of him again. 04 Next day. An unfamiliar number called, Zachary. After graduation I'd changed phones to cut every tie. I had no idea how he'd found the new one. He said, "Olivia, let's meet." I refused outright. "I don't see anything we need to discuss. I'll wait for you at the CAF lounge by the school gate. T. He hung up, certain I would show. But this life was no longer the last. Irrelevant people and matters are passing smoke, nothing to do with me. So I didn't go. Yet fate seemed determined to make our lines cross again. He refused to give up. He began asking everywhere about me. When Julian heard, he asked if I wanted Zachary kicked out of Riverdale. I said no. Since he insisted on seeing me, let's get it over with. Otherwise he'll keep dogging us. Better to settle it once and for all. This time I went. Same CAF lounge he'd named. The instant Zachary saw me, surprise and a knowing smile flashed in his eyes. In his mind, my refusal earlier had been mere pique. Once he cooed a little, I'd be wrapped around his finger again. I sat across from him and cut straight to the point. "What do you want? What would you like to drink?" Zachary asked. "Warm water is fine," I said flatly. I saw his expression flicker. But in the end he said nothing. The server brought me a cup of lukewarm water. He said, "Olivia, you're actually with someone else. Back in school you swore you'd only love me for the rest of your life. People change, you changed, and so did I." My voice was calm. Back then you kept saying you'd turned down that freshman girl for me, and now you're about to marry her anyway. I was only, Zachary's lips moved, but no words came. I went on. In our last life I already knew we weren't right for each other. I forced the relationship. Now we're on separate paths, why can't we leave it at that? What do you mean? Are you saying our marriage in that life was a mistake? He sounded angry. Yes, it was, I answered without hesitation. Otherwise we wouldn't have had so many conflicts. I just want you to face reality, he snapped. I chose this to show you how wrong you were to stay in Riverdale. When you finally admit it and come apologize, I'll forgive everything and still marry you. I rolled my eyes, speechless. I couldn't understand him at all. Why? Oh, you're about to get married, how can you still say things like this? I just want you to bow your head. Where's the harm in that? Everything I've done is right. Zachary was adamant. I'm telling you, building your future in Eastport is the correct choice, not Riverdale. Suddenly he laughed. If you're jealous of Sophia, don't worry, I'll break up with her. I was too stunned to speak. He kept going. Julian may be impressive, but so what? Without his family background he'd be nothing in Riverdale. I fought my way up on my own, we're not the same. Zachary wouldn't stop talking. I sipped my warm water in small mouthfuls and quietly watched him unravel. When I stayed silent, he finally noticed and demanded, annoyed, why aren't you saying anything? Your mouth's been running nonstop, what room do I have? Those are your thoughts, not mine. Olivia, what's with the sarcasm? Am I wrong? Sure, everything you say is right, but what does that have to do with me? Find people who share your views, stop dragging me into it. My tone stayed mild. At the first half of my sentence Zachary looked pleased, at the second half his face darkened to thundercloud gray. I continued, having dreams and ambition is great, and choosing Eastport isn't wrong, I'm not denying your effort or your struggle. But Zachary, people are individuals. You have your choices, I have mine. There's no right or wrong, and you have no right to judge or lecture anyone else. So map out your own life and stop forcing your blueprint on me. The life I want is one where I can stay by my parents' side. Before I could finish, Zachary interrupted. Olivia, you really are hopeless. Exactly, he wanted me on my knees, admitting he was right. In his mind, whatever he decided was truth, and no one could change it. Today had been a waste. I said no more. Silence, nothing but silence. Suddenly Zachary spoke again. Olivia, if I hadn't come, you never would have sought me out. Are you really not leaving with me? I froze, baffled. Seeing my face, he sighed. All these years I've been holding a grudge, I'll admit defeat first. Come away with me now and I'll pretend none of it happened. As for the baby, just end the pregnancy. I'd thought he'd come to boast about how well he was doing in Eastport this time around, to make me regret my choices. I never guessed he harbored such an idea. How had I ever fallen for someone so conceited in our past life? Zachary and I could never go back. Zachary, have you lost your mind? I couldn't keep my voice down. His complexion turned ugly. I'm married. I have a husband who loves me, a baby on the way, my parents beside me, my life is full and happy. What makes you think I'd abandon everything and leave with you? And don't you have a fiancé? You're unbelievable. Zachary's face flushed green then white. I don't believe you've truly put our years of feeling behind you. You've really let go of me? In our past life I just didn't come back to Riverdale with you, must you hold that against me forever? Fine, I'll quit my job in Eastport and stay here with you, alright? I flung the rest of my water straight into his face. Your ego is breathtaking. I have my own life, we're ancient history. The moment we came back in time we each made our choice. I wouldn't compromise for you, and you wouldn't give up the big city and your ambitions. Let's just live our separate lives in peace, what's wrong with that? If today's plan was to talk me into leaving with you, then sorry, there's nothing left to say. I stood up and turned to go. Olivia. Zachary reached for my arm, but Julian arrived, caught his hand and flung it away in one smooth move. I had told Julian I was meeting Zachary. I turned and looked at Zachary, who was pleading with his eyes. I've already admitted my mistake, what more do you want? He demanded, staring straight at me. Julian started to speak, I tugged his sleeve. I'm not bitter. What I want is for you to stay far away from me. I got over you a long time ago, so do yourself a favor and let go of yourself as well. After saying that, I didn't spare Zachary another glance. I took Julian's hand and left. 05 I thought I had made it that ugly and that final. We wouldn't have any reason to cross paths again. Even if we ever ran into each other, we would be strangers. I blocked every number and handle he had. What I never expected was that, only 1 week later, Another message slipped through. Olivia, I've left Eastport. I'm staying in Riverdale, for good. I stared at it, stunned. What on earth did he mean? I have to see you. I blocked him again. Pretended I'd never read a word. But when I walked out after work, Zachary was planted at my office entrance. Roses in both arms, there was no ducking him. I felt a flash of revulsion. I already spelled it out last time, I said, frowning. You kept saying you wanted to come home to Riverdale, that I never cared. Now I'm here, for good. He sounded sure, almost proud. That's your decision. It has nothing to do with me. I stepped around him. He grabbed my wrist. What will it take for you to forgive me? We both made our choices back then. We both gave up. I never gave up on you, he cut in. I have my own company now. I'm back. I can give you everything Julian can. It's not a competition. My life is good. Stop haunting me. You still love me, he insisted. You only picked Julian because I left. Now that I'm back, you're supposed to choose me. Don't lie to yourself. Once, yes, I'd loved him hard. But even the fiercest feeling, ground down day after day, eventually crumbles. Zachary, feelings aren't monuments. Love can vanish. I looked straight at him. His eyes reddened, wet. He hadn't believed I could really walk away. In our first life I agreed to build an Eastport, and you promised we wouldn't stay forever, you'd bring us home to Riverdale. Then one day you said you weren't coming back. I never stood in your I cheered you on. But if you always planned to stay in Eastport, why did you swear we'd return? He rushed to explain, I was afraid you wouldn't stay with me. I loved you so much I was terrified of losing you. And after the reboot? You never asked me to wait, never even hinted. You just ran for Eastport. Doesn't that say everything about how important I was? I thought we understood each other without words, he said hoarsely. I never imagined you'd actually choose someone else. No. You're here because I found a good man and your ego can't take it. You're not chasing love, you're chasing control. You proposed to Sophia in front of our entire graduating class, now you're begging me. How humiliating for her. You want me to kneel so you can have both choices and look noble, cake and eat it too. I'm sorry. Abruptly he apologized, pulling out an engagement ring and dropping to one knee. I was wrong. Forgive me, Olivia. Give me one last chance. We'll start over. I'll do anything you say. I shook my head, cold. There is no chance left. Olivia, I really gave up Eastport, for you. That was your choice. It has nothing to do with me, and I told you, I never look back. Not ever. I said it calmly. I truly didn't care. I saw his tainted motives and felt nothing but irritation, no ache, no longing. Julian came to pick me up. He stood off to the side, leaning against the entrance, watching, waiting for me, respecting me, backing every decision I made, believing me. His love was something Zachary could never match. 06 I smiled and walked toward Julian. Ready to go, wife? He asked, taking my hand. I nodded. I felt Zachary's burning stare behind me. I never turned around, I simply got into the car and left. Zachary stood there hollow, as though someone had scraped out his soul. I quit my job. Later I opened my own design studio. Eventually our baby arrived, a boy. Because I was pregnant, we postponed the wedding. 3 months after the birth, Julian and I held the ceremony, classmates and business partners all there to witness. Zachary, naturally, was not invited. Later a classmate told me, Zachary didn't stay in Riverdale long. He left again and broke up with Sophia. She wouldn't accept it, huge scandal, even hit the local news. Everyone clucked their tongues in gossipy sympathy. But it had nothing to do with me, I only laughed it off. From then on, we lived under different skies. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you liked this video, hit like and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section, so leave us a note. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great stories. See you next time.